Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Astri Shabrina and I'm going to present the result of my research entitled Directive Speech Act Used by English Teachers in Madrasah Sumatera Tawali Parabe. This research focuses on the directive utterance used by English teachers in the classroom. Teachers frequently use directive utterance to the student. In the classroom, there are specific purposes that must be accomplished by the student. Teachers have an important role to determine the action that will be performed by the students. And I will analyze the teachers' utterances in Madrasah Sumatera Tawali Parabe. This school is known as the oldest Islamic boarding school in West Sumatra and also known as the most historical Islamic boarding school in Sumatra. Teachers and students there can speak English because they use three languages as their teaching method. They are Indonesian, English, and Arabic. There are two research questions that will be discussed in this research. The first one is, what are the types of Directive Speech Act used by English teachers in this school? And what are the functions of Directive Speech Act used by English teacher in this school? And for the method of the research, I will use non-participant observational and note-taking and recording method in conducting this research. It will be conducted during the process of learning and teaching in the classroom. There are several steps in collecting the data. Firstly, I will join the class section and don't get involved to the utterances. Secondly, I will take audio and visual recording by putting the camera at the back row in the class in order to make the student and teachers do not get disturbed. Thirdly, the utterances will be transcribed and classified into Directive Speech Act. And then the data found will be analyzed and focuses on the types and functions of Directive Speech Act. I will use the theory of types of Directive Speech Act proposed by Cradler and for the theory of function proposed by Beck and Harnish. And then I will present the result descriptively and it will be presented into a table and the pattern to find out the most dominant types and the percentage of the types and functions of Directive Speech Act as found in this research. And then there are several previous studies that being reviewed in supporting this research. The first one is an article by Yulianti Wulansari and Cucu Suhartini entitled Directive Speech Act Realization of Indonesian EFL Teacher. The second one is also an article by Priyono, Nuryadi, and also Azhari. It entitled Speech Act of Classroom Interaction. And the last one is a thesis by Hendra Syaputra entitled An Analysis of Directive Speech Act as found in the public notice at Minangkabau International Airport. And then for the theory, the first theory I will use the theory proposed by Cradler 1998. There are three types of Directive Speech Act. The first one is command, and then request and suggestion. The second theory, there are 6 functions of directive proposed by Beck and Harnish 1979. They are requestive, question, requirements, permissive, prohibitive, and advisories. And the last theory is the theory proposed by Leach 1993. It's the theory of context. And then I will show the several data found in this research. The first dialogue occurs when the student will take a daily examination. And then the teacher asks the students to collect their notebook and start the exam. But then there's a student asks the teacher to give them additional time to read the materials before they have to collect the notebook and start the exam. This utterance is classified as common because the teacher instructs the student to study within 5 minutes. And the function of this utterance is permissive because the teacher is giving an allowance by giving the additional time to the student to read the materials before they have to collect the notebook and they have to start the exam. And the second dialogue, this dialogue occurs when the class is just started after the Zuhur prayer or the rest time, so there's still some students who haven't come back to the class yet. So the teachers and the other students have compromised to give a punishment to the latecomers. Then when a latecomer comes to the class, the teacher says, please tell us something. So this utterance is classified as request. As it can be seen from the utterance, the use of the word please shows that it is a form of request. Moreover, the function of this utterance is requestive because the teacher asks and intends to make the student tell something in front of the class. And the last dialogue takes place when the students also want to take a daily examination, and the exam will be given in the form of reading section. So this utterance classified as suggestion, because the teacher believes this utterance will give benefit to the student if they not lazy to read the text. So this utterance, don't lazy to read the text, is classified as suggestion, and also has function as advisories, because teacher is not requiring them to do something, but they suggest that doing such thing is a good idea. And also the teachers wants to suggest and to advise the students to not lazy to read the text. So at the based on the analysis before, it concludes that there are 81 utterances found contain directive speech act, and there are 3 types of directive speech act used by the teachers in the classroom. The most dominant types of directive speech act found is common. It is in 56 utterances with the percentage 69-14%. So the use of the dominant types, which is common, implies that the teacher wants the student to accomplish the purpose of the class. And the use of common believe that it will be more effective to get the student to perform or refrain from doing something. And here, the teacher have some degree or control over the students. And then for the functions, I found all the functions found in this research used by the teachers. But the most dominant function found is requirements. So it concludes that teachers have authority over the students, and students have responsibility to fulfill what the teachers instructs them to do. By fulfilling the requirements made by the teachers, students will join the class activities fully. So the purpose of this class will be accomplished if the students followed what the teachers require them to do. And then the requirement will make the activities of the class run smoothly. So it concludes that the teacher have authority and some degree over the students, and the students have responsibility to directly do what the teachers ask them. So I think that's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.